I'm here with a special guest host, Miss Morgan, Passive Assassin. I'm sure you all know her. She's a big supporter and a big fan of Awon. So we invited her to come and talk with us today. So happy to have you here. Morgan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. And then we have Miss Tiptoe. Hey, Tiptoe.
Hey, SB, you look nice, girl. You
Thank
look
you.
good. Look at you. I love that lipstick.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm good though. I'm just tired. I work too much. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And our special guest today is Mr. Awon. How are you?
Yeah.
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. How's everybody doing?
We are chilling and
Blessed.
just excited
Blessed.
to have you.
Well, thank you. It's an honor to be here.
And I don't want to forget the man behind the blue wall up there, Nev.
Kaboom! Look who stepped in the room to cow. It's Neville here. Greetings, everybody. Good night, everyone. Salute.
Salute, bro.
So I'm always start off with this question, and just for the people who don't know you, where are you from and how did that impact how you do your music today?
Okay. Well, great place to start. I was born in Brooklyn, raised in
Mm.
Virginia, and that definitely impacted my music because I think that I was just born at the perfect time, at the right place, under the right set of circumstances to be a part of hip hop culture. So definitely being born in the city, I was raised till I was 9 years old there. I was able to pick up on the growth of hip hop. So born in 80. So by the time I'm conscious of the music, it's like 85, 86. And that's, the beginning of like this golden arc of hip
Right.
hop. The first golden era of hip hop, 87, 88. And that's when I really started to comprehend the lyrics, the dialogue, the music even more. And I began writing raps, at 8 years old, based on just the way that I was influenced by the artists of that time. In the ages that they were. I have aunt and uncles that are, you know, the age of like most of my heroes. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
my aunt's uncle was teenagers at that time. So they was feeding me a lot of music. They had friends that was already into hip hop, because my neighborhood at that time I was living in Fort Greene, which is a very hip neighborhood now in Brooklyn. But back when I was growing up, it was a little more rough, but it still had that artistic and hip vibe where people in the industry and throughout music would just come through. They always knew somebody who lived in Fort Greene because it's downtown, it's in Brooklyn, close to the Albee Square Mall and walking distance to the Albee Square Mall, which was
Mm.
a very popular mall, that rappers used to shop at and everything. So I think that just that being at that place at that time just set me up for to see it, unfold firsthand, from the music to the fashion to the cultural aspects of being involved in hip hop culture. It really helped. And by the time I got to Virginia, hip hop was already worldwide. That's 1989 when I came to VA, and you know, once it's worldwide, it's everywhere.
Everywhere.
It's like the air. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it wasn't hard to find the scene of Virginia either, and Virginia is another place where I came, and it was like serendipity. I came to Hampton Roads, the 757, and there you got famous New York guy comes down to Virginia, Teddy Riley,
Right.
area, and that birthed Pharrell, Tim,
Pharrell. And
Missy, Neptunes, you know what I mean? Knots, Bink Dog,
it was a great era then too.
Timberland.
right. So, just from proximity, I got to mingle, with some of the higher talent from the area, and it's a beautiful thing. because it's very laid back in Virginia. So it's like I had the best of both worlds. I got to see the beginning of hip hop, and then I got to see like a regional thing take place with so many successful artists that come from the same area. So it was like
Right.
reliving the same thing over and over again through a different lens. And I think that it helped definitely helped to carve out my niche for music the way that I it is now. So yeah.
That's amazing. That is amazing. As I was in '89, I was already in what? I was almost 20. I was almost 20 years old. So yeah, I remember the Missy era and the '80s too. The '80s were special for me, man.
Mm-hmm.
Right, right. So, I was always the youngest kid in the room, even though I'm my mother's oldest son. Being the oldest child always gonna make me the youngest in the room. So,
Right.
all my friends are older than me. Everybody's older than me. I was like the little guy in the club, that wasn't supposed to be there, but it was like it's cool. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he's supposed to be here. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that's kind of how things always panned out for me, and it definitely shaped me as a musician.
That's awesome. So then so who was okay, so let me ask you, who were your influences? And you can start like if you like from the time you were in Brooklyn when you was still there because you said you started writing around 8, right?
Yeah, I was still
So
in Brooklyn when
yeah.
I started writing.
So I'm interested to see who your influence was then, and then when you
Mhm.
moved, who became your influence there?
Okay, so at 8, my first influence was Kane, Big Daddy Kane.
Mm,
I used to watch, Video Music Box. Shouts
yes,
out to Uncle Ralph McDaniels, and I saw the video for "Ain't No Half Stepping," and just the way he
amazing.
moved,
Yeah,
how smooth his delivery was, the loop, the beat, everything
yeah.
about that record was like so
Eh,
perfect that
perfect. Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to write. I just wanted to be a part and participate. Not only that, he was a dark skinned fellow with a high top fade. He reminded me of my uncle. So I was like, "Hey,
Ah,
if he could do that, and he's looking like my uncle. I'm like, I'm close to my uncle. I could do that.
right.
So that's what really got me started. By the time I got to Virginia, it would be 1991, 1992 when I first encountered a record from Nas, which
Mm,
was Live at the Barbecue, and then
barbecue.
I seen Halftime, the video for Halftime because it was on the Zebrahead soundtrack, and the next it was Nas, and it was also Guru, even
Guru. Yeah.
Guru, definitely Gangstar, So those are like my earliest influences up until like, I was in junior high school and everything. And as I got older, I started looking at more the technical aspects of making music. How people would do it and why they would do certain things. And then, I discovered Doom. Well, I knew who he was, rest in peace. I knew who he was from KMD, because I was a super fan of rap music. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
rap nerd, like hip hop nerd. I'm knowing everything. So I knew who he was, but I was like, something's different about his voice. This is how his voice matured. It was weird. And he was also monotone when I heard him.
Hmm.
And I said, I like this because I'm monotone.
Right.
I was like, I like this. He's proven to me that this works. He's showing me that it works. He's showing me a lane. So Doom would be an influence, and also Dilla and Madlib. Just that camp, their chemistry and what they brought to the table, production wise. They made music the way that I listen to music. You
Yeah, I feel
so
that.
yeah, they reverse engineered things.
Hmm.
So I understood what they were doing. Like I'm like, damn, Doom, took this break from a hip hop record, those drums,
Right.
got this weird R&B sample that my mom would listen to. Like he's doing, like boom bap drums on the Nita Baker, and Sade.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. You know what I'm
Yeah, yeah, I like that too. Doom,
saying?
Doom was special, man.
Yeah,
Dilla too. Like, there's, um, I really hope that a lot of people that haven't fully heard their discography, like, take time to check it out because, yeah, they were special. I agree.
yeah,
There's a lot of Doom stands out here. A lot. You see on Twitter the profile with the Doom mask. I mean, there are a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And with Dilla's, it was the swing. It was the way
Hmm.
he manipulated his drums. He gave a lot of soul to the music. He put his
Yeah.
soul into it. And I still listen to Donuts regularly. It's like just a beautiful album because you hear the fear of going, you hear the acceptance, you hear the love, that he's
Yeah.
trying to spread. You hear this, and he was able to do it on the instrumental album, which was incredible to put that type of feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like he
Yeah.
had hitting his drums, he had like the fingertips of gold.
Yeah.
It's special in that way. And man,
R.I.P. Dilla, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. And for Madlib, it was the rapping. It was, having again, he had an alter ego, Quasimodo, Lord Quas, and all of
Right.
that.
Right. Right.
But also, it's him educating you, taking you through a sample library that you can never own these records. You will scour the internet just to find out what the sample he used was
Right.
you know,
That. Yeah.
the vast knowledge, just the knowledge. I appreciate artists who can teach me something and who I can learn from to help elevate my craft. So that's how, producers ended up becoming, inspiring me. Like
Right.
it'll be golden to rap over those type of beats. You know what I mean?
You
So
have some amazing influences.
thank you,
Yeah.
thank
Yeah. I'm just listening. When you mentioned the alter egos, Cool Keep had alter egos too.
you. Oh,
You
absolutely.
remember? Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
There are a few artists that had alter egos. Like, yeah.
Absolutely. Cool Keith, from the time he was with ultramagnetic MCs up until the point
Right.
with, Dr. Octagon and all of
Dr.
that.
Octagon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like he's brought character, charisma, wit,
Right.
storytelling, and a different arc to the music. I think, when you think about obscurity, the ultramagnetic MCs were like one of the first groups to really, just embrace the obscurity, but not like in the way that De La did. It was just in
Right.
a harder way, a harder hitting way. So
Yeah.
yeah, respect.
I love them. Yeah. I still listen to them a lot. Yeah. And Cold Keith. I've been on my Sean Price lately, though, listening to Sean P.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Sean P. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so many. It hurts to
So,
say that. Just for
yeah,
so
it
many
does.
different artists, we losing so many. It just it starts to dawn on you every time you bring somebody,
Right.
and you're like, oh God, rest in peace. Like so,
Yeah.
you know,
It's sad,
return to the
because
essence.
you grow up listening, or you fall in love with their music, and they become, it's almost like the artist becomes a part of your life. If talking to you from a fan standpoint, like when I listen to
Mm-hmm.
your music, and I can relate to a lot of things, so it's like you become a part of my life because the music. So when they pass away, it's hard. Like, I had a hard time with DMX's passing, all of them, Sean P, Tupac, Biggie. I could go on and on. Jam Master Jay, Big Pun, like it. Fred the Godson, like, good man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just so many, and I think that it's just a testament that musicians need to think about things like maybe unionizing or buying into some
Right.
type of plan where we
Mm-hmm.
can have, health insurance,
Yeah.
401k.
Yeah.
It's putting something together for hip hop, I think would be a good start for
That's a
future.
perfect
Yeah,
Yeah.
idea.
future independent artists, because we see the way that music is going. It's going more indie, so we need a way to protect ourselves. I mean, I'm responsible, so I have all those things.
Right, right, yeah,
Got kids, and I understand it's necessary to have those, but younger artists that might not have that same level of literacy, you know, it, I think
it's
that
sad.
yeah, it definitely sucks, and we do need to do something so that we can stop saying R.I.P. to all these guys. You know.
Right, I agree. I agree.
I wanted to go back a little bit to you're talking about the sound that you've kind of gravitated toward. So Phonics is someone that you work with a lot, and is did that play into that? I mean, is that why? I mean, how did you guys like hook up? Like,
Okay.
we'll start working together. Is that something that influenced that at all?
Good question. Good question, and it'll help people understand the sound. So, when I met Phonics, it was in 2013. I was spending like Fourth of July weekend with my family. We had checked out the fireworks and all of that, and I just remember it being around that time. So maybe a day after the fourth, or 2 days after, I get an email, and he's real polite, saying, "Hey, I was just listening to your album, Beautiful Loser. I like to work with you. Here's some beats you could check out." And he sent me a Bandcamp link. The cool thing what he did though was it was his beats, but his Bandcamp link was remixes. So
Mm.
he's famous, like he's famous for making like a crazy remix. So I'm listening to the songs, and they're like classic golden era hip hop. Like he's remixing Mobb Deep. He's remixing Biggie. He's remixing Wu Tang, which he's famous for.
Right.
He's it's just it was perfect. And I immediately hit him back like, "Yo, I want to work with you." So he sent me the same project back with the vocals off of it, and it was so easy because I had already heard these songs, and I was riding around listening to, like, 90s golden era hip hop at that time.
Hmm.
And I'm rooted in nostalgia, so it really touched me. It was like, how does this guy know what I'm thinking? It was like he was almost like it was a message. It was too much of a coincidence. So I said, I'm gonna work. And the first record I recorded was like Street Saga. The day after he sent the beats, that was the first record, and that record would become one of the records on Return to the Golden Era. We were done in like 2.5 weeks with that album because I was so inspired by the music, and we was listening, again to like 90s golden era hip hop at that time, and you know, it was just like I said, just too much of a coincidence. I still can't believe that it happened till this day, and we knocked out an album in 2.5 weeks. Like, I did all of the rapping, I mixed my vocals, I sent him the waves, he mixed the beats, and I mean, it was up on the internet, and it changed our lives. And
It's
it was
incredible.
just, yeah, it was like, seriously, it was like a gift from the universe. Like, you guys need to meet. He's all the way in Portland, Maine. I'm in Virginia, and I'm actually thinking at that time, like, things are not going well with music. It's kind of slow. I'm tired of, the regional scene, and, just going to North Carolina to do shows or different parts of my state. I wanted to branch out and be heard further. And I was just like, I'm getting old. I'm getting tired of doing it. But he just like gave me a new life. And we haven't stopped since. Like,
No.
and it's almost a decade. Like, so shouts out to Phonics. It's my brother, from another mother, man. He's like can read my mind. We finish each other's sentences.
That's cool. I like that. I like that. I was going to ask you. You guys have a documentary, right? Am I
Yes,
tripping? Because I know I remember SP when we did the other interview, and I was talking about. I said I saw your guys' movie. This is who I was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was totally wrong about who we was talking about, but it was your documentary. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
remember now.
we do have a
Underdogs.
Yeah,
underdog,
underdogs. Yeah,
right? And it's directed by Teo Frank, and right now people can stream that on Red Bull TV. Is no subscription required. You could just go to redbull.tv, search Underdogs, check it out. You know, send the links out. We had a nice run on Netflix from 2019 to just 2022,
that's
and
where I saw it. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So Netflix is always changing their content. So the license they had was for 3 years, which was great for us. 3 years
right.
of exposure, and now it just live in a different place. And eventually, it might live at university. Who knows?
Who
We would
knows?
love to get in the academic
It
space.
it it was great. I liked it. I
Thank you.
really enjoyed it. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
It's about our journey, and
yeah,
our choices to, stay true to our sound, which is like jazzy, underground hip hop. Again,
yeah,
rooted in the nostalgia of Guru and DJ Premier, Pete Rock and CL, so
yeah,
forth and so
Hmm.
on.
Yeah,
So
and
And what I really loved about the documentary is everyone was so honest.
yeah. Just up
It,
front.
it's
Just
yeah, it
yeah,
was
just
really
up front.
upfront and honest, and that's rare.
Well, thank you. As my wife would say, authenticity speaks. I mean, it's a lot easier to be yourself than it is to constantly put on,
right.
constantly go
Right,
out and wear a mask or, have to be in character for every moment, that the cameras are on or
right.
somebody's recording you speak. It was a lot easier for A1 to be Antoine and that person to be interchangeable, just so I don't have to, be
Yeah,
put on these different hats and do these different things when I'm in different scenarios. So that's why I rap monotone. That's why my music voice that I use is my speaking voice. Really,
yeah.
like I I just think it's easier. It's just
I
so much easier just to be me.
It works
Yeah,
for
and
you.
that's the only way to be. I think. It gets exhausting. I think. You see people when they act a different way, and then there's something else somewhere else. It has to be exhausting.
Yeah, I
You
think
know that weight, having to make sure you always got the right, hats, like you say, at the wherever you're at. I mean, I couldn't do it.
And
yeah,
it
neither
doesn't
did
help
I.
that I'm a horrible liar with a horrible memory. So I can't
Me
remember what
too,
lie I told.
girl.
So I just refrain from it because I suck at lying.
I've been me 51 years. I'm not going to change now. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Yeah, but I really enjoyed that documentary. I liked it a lot. I remember it now.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
in that I think it was the first part of that you said you used to go for walks with your aunt, right? And you would do, was it like walking freestyle? I mean, do you still do stuff like that? Like when you're just out walking around or
you know what? Now I put my earpods in and listen to beats and just kind of sketch out songs. Like so when I'm walking, I try to work. You
You're
know,
working.
yeah,
Yeah.
right?
walking is like working for me because I'm always just, you're paying so much attention to your trail, your surroundings, that you can actually think and you can have
Mhm.
clear, concise thoughts. Your problems are left wherever you came from, because you're walking and you looking at the surroundings and taking life in. And I think that when we living and breathing and doing physical things, out there in the earth, we can be more productive mentally because you connected to where you are mentally and physically and spiritually. So that's why I like you know moving and doing things.
Right.
It's constant motion from the time that I get up. Um, I just if I'm sitting too long, I'm stagnant. I need to be doing something. You know what I mean? So we got eternity to sit down, lay down, whatever. You know what I mean? So let's get it
Yeah.
while we here and get out there and be productive and make the most of it every day.
I
Right.
agree.
Um, you guys are coming up on, so Don't Sleep Records. It's 10 years next year, right?
Well, the idea is 10 years next year. We actually launched the label 2014, but you know, I would definitely say that as soon as we put music out, the universe had already decided that we
Yeah.
was going to do this and we was going to have a label and everything. So it would be the 10th year anniversary of our first album together, which is Return to the Golden Era. So that's definitely symbolic because I
Mhm.
who would have thought I'd be here now, 10 years later,
Right.
going on 10 years later, talking about hip hop and still being active when I was thinking about leaving and just kind of spectating.
Yeah.
What?
Are
So
you guys planning anything like special for that 10th year, or
We
any
would like
merch
to
or?
tour. We would like to tour. We would like to
There
tour.
you go.
Nice.
Obviously, I'm always going to take advantage of opportunities to utilize storytelling in our products, and so we definitely would do something for the 10th anniversary that's special because that is part of our story, and
Right.
I'd be remiss not to take an opportunity to capitalize on a product that we can have a good story behind. But touring is what we like to do. We like to get everybody together and get out there and do some shows and just kind of like a thank you to the people that have been following us for this long. Because now is some people that were kids when we started that are now adults. That
Mm.
so it's amazing to see people that were listening when they were like teenagers and now they got jobs and
They kind of raised them.
responsibilities. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's beautiful. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because I see families come and it's like a father was listening, put his son on, and his son is still listening to me. I had
mhm.
that
Nice.
happen to us in Germany,
Yeah.
so that was beautiful, or kids bringing their parents to the concert and their parents going crazy. A young lady brought her dad to a show, and and he just came up to me. He was like, I had no idea, but this is like one of the best nights of my life, and that was in Paris. So
Wow.
yeah, I've had so many different experiences with people from all backgrounds and walks of life and ages that you know have been listening and still are listening today, and some kids that are listening, that's coming up because of their parents or their
Yeah.
older brothers and sisters. So it's awesome. It's awesome.
So I have a
So
question
let
since we were talking about phonics, right? And you guys touring and all that. But let me ask you this. What do you think the pros and cons are of being in an interracial group if there are any? If there
Oh, it's
are any cons, there
nah,
could be pros or no cons or no pros and cons. Like, I don't know.
right.
Just
Nah,
curious.
I don't think it's any like when you look at the history of this industry and the documented history of hip hop, it's always been a multicultural phenomenon, where people from
Right.
all different backgrounds come together, people that identify with multitude of races come together. Hip hop unified the world, in my opinion, more than religion or politics
I agree.
could ever. So I don't think it's any cons or anything about it. It's
That's
just
dope.
I make music with my brother. I don't even see him, in that way. It's just that's just phonics,
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
And I like that answer. You know what I mean? And you're
so
right. It was a multiracial, a lot of different cultures that came together. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, you go all the way back to Debbie Harry,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
and Rapture and what she
Yeah.
did
Five
and how
five
she
Freddy.
used her celebrity to help push the culture forward,
Right.
at that
mhm.
time. So I'm also like an oral historian of this. Like I took a lot
Yeah.
of time and as a super fan and I fan out, and
I,
watch.
I just watched that video too. You remember that video to that Five Freddy? You know what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean? I just
yeah,
watched
Gotcha.
it like
yeah. That's
like
wild
like it's
style.
wild, right? I
Yeah,
like
that's
it.
wild
Yeah.
style.
That's
Yeah,
my era, man. I was like, yeah,
yeah,
remember
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. And She comes from one of the greatest punk bands
Right.
ever, you know,
Mm-hmm.
coming
Ever.
from Blondie, but crossed over into hip hop, bubbling
Yeah.
when hip hop was in its still in its infancy. You know, you
Right.
talk about that movie came out in like '83, so that probably was bubbling. She probably was in that scene since the late '70s. You know, in its
Right.
Mm-hmm.
infancy. So respect to Debbie Harry, respect to Rick
Right.
Rubin, Beastie Boys, everybody who came from a different walk of life and participated in this culture. You know, all of the Latino cats from, you know, Watch Eddie
Orale.
Blue, you know,
Yeah.
Crazy Legs, everybody who ever participated in the culture.
Yeah.
Respect, you know what I mean? Like hip hop is one of the things that just doesn't have barriers or walls.
It's great, isn't
Yeah,
it, that people in India are rapping like there's big artists there. I mean, when it first started, it was not in the concept of that it would reach all the way across all through the world, but it has, and it's amazing how it just brought lots of people together.
well, hip hop runs at the same, almost like, so people don't understand the connection and the vibration of rap music. So
Right.
hip hop or rap music, because hip hop is the culture.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the music. That's rap
Music.
music, right? Classic hip hop is going to be at beats per minute of your average heart rate.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So however your heart rate is, if you sitting down and your heart rate is running at 88, you know, 80, 80, 84, that's classic. That's the boom bap. That's right there. You
Well,
know,
that's where
you
mine's
up
were at.
moving around and dancing
Yeah.
and you up at 97, 98, you know what I mean? That's also hip hop. You know, hip
Yeah.
hop can go that high and it's at your comfortable heart rate. That's why we nod and agree.
Yeah.
You
We
know,
do
we nod
not.
and agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I like
So
that.
yeah, so that's the essence of why it connects so many people because it's actually touching your heart, touching your chakras in a way that
Right.
it's deep in your subconscious. You know what I'm
Your
saying?
vibrations and all
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. We all originate from one continent. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's
Exactly.
science tells us that. So that drum that comes off of that
Mm-hmm.
continent that's permeates through hip hop today is why we all can identify with that, and that's why hip hop has absorbed every other genre of music and became pop. I think that people thought it wasn't going to become pop, but hip hop
Right.
now is the highest selling genre of music globally. Worldwide.
Yeah.
Pop stars, and rap stars.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just popular is all it means. It's
yeah,
popular.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Next thing you know, Taylor Swift gonna drop some bars. If she hasn't already. I'm just saying, she collaborates
yeah.
with
You
rappers.
never. Yeah. You never
But if you
know.
listen to R&B, R&B is hip
Y-
hop. It has a hip
Yeah.
hop twang to it. What
Right.
happened to rock and roll? Rock and roll,
Bro.
rock and roll got absorbed by hip
Yeah.
hop.
Hip hop.
And it
Yeah.
became alternative rock with like Linkin Park, with like
Yeah.
Mike Shinoda rapping
Limp
along with
Biscuit.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying, Limp Bizkit,
Hip
you know what I
biscuit.
mean? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
corn. So hip hop basically absorbed everything,
Even country. I was gonna
even
say
country.
that. Yeah. Yeah. You're
So
right.
so the arc of hip hop is the trajectory has always been going up. It's never really gone down.
Right.
So I think that it was always meant to absorb that because the roots are in another popular form of music, which was disco,
Mm-hmm.
breakbeats, funk,
Funk.
soul. That's
Yep.
the foundation
Mm-hmm.
right there, and it just absorbed everything. So we got to give it up for hip hop one time.
Hey.
Make
I
it
Alrighty.
love it.
so
I
much
love it,
better,
man.
so much
Yeah.
better.
So, I since they mentioned phonics, you mentioned a point before meeting phonics, that you were going to stop making music. What um what prompted that? Because we hear that a lot from artists that there becomes a point where they are going to stop making music.